This is the Smoked Debrief. Light up, lock in, and let's get to it.
I'm Jim. I'm Hollywood. This is the Smoked Debrief. Today we've got an Oliva. First, let me say, Jim is trying to recover from his miserable failure of 3 meh cigars in a row. I still haven't got the taste of that fake Cuban out of my mouth. And I've been, even though I knew it was fake, I tried to support my man here. So today, in the next 2 episodes of the Smoke Debrief, is Jim's way of trying to make up with his cigar selection. Sorry to interrupt you, Jim. Go ahead.
I'm definitely trying to make up. They were good cigars, but on Hollywood's level, they were weak. But this is a Oliva Series 5 Melanio Gran Reserva Limited. It's a premium cigar. They're limited edition. So it's a dark, oily Nicaraguan wrapper with a blend of Nicaraguan fillers and binders. So we're going to cut this bad boy and torch it.
We're going to have to start smoking some cigars that aren't Nicaraguan, buddy.
I know it. Well, how will I know those?
It's interesting because, before you buy them at your local cigar establishment, you should pull your phone up and do some research. Because I know there's some good Dominicans out there, Ecuadorian. I don't know about Honduran. I never met a Honduran I like, but
That's too much work.
wow. This tastes like I'm drinking a hot chocolate from Salvation Coffee, especially made by either your daughter or your wife with about 7 extra pumps of cocoa. This is great.
Oh, damn. This is good smoke.
Well, this is a limited edition, right?
Yeah. I'm going to have to go see about a box of these. I can't remember what it costs.
Wow. Well, Jim, so far you've redeemed yourself.
What about the new decor?
Every time I come out here, this place looks different, and
I'm
better and
the
sweeter.
artist.
You've definitely been putting in the work to make this a top-notch cigar podcast. Whether or not our cigar discussions are even remotely up to the exquisiteness of the set,
That's true.
at least it's looking nice. I'll have to get some of my shit out here.
Bring some of your shit out here, and we'll put as much stuff in there, and then hopefully we'll catch it live when this thing falls.
Well, I hope it doesn't fall. I hope you're a better carpenter than you are a car repairer.
It's fastened. I will say that it is fastened into the brick. Not and honestly, not bad for floor. That's the cheapest flooring I could find.
Really?
Yeah, and it makes a great wall covering.
Did you get that at the Home Depot?
I think that came from Lowe's. It was like 99 cents a square foot.
That's pretty cheap.
Yes.
So what has your week been like?
Crazy busy. Board meetings yesterday.
For what?
The gun club.
How's that going?
Well, pretty good. We're having a 50 by 50 building put up for tractor shed. We're going to have a couple of classrooms in there. I think we're going.
Have you thought about teaching? Do you already teach gun control safety and that?
Concealed carry instructor, but I prefer not to. I'll do it for people I know,
Right.
But as litigious as some states are,
Right. Well, that makes you liable if you were the person that taught, right?
I don't think. Well, I think that it would be something they might try. If they wanted to just maximize. Of course, it's an attorney. A lawyer's going to maximize whatever they're getting out of something, and I have seen cases. I think it was a Gun Owners of America newsletter or something that came out, and they were talking about how it was different. It wasn't in North Carolina, but one state they actually went to where the person had his instruction, and they were asking for the records of his instruction, and of course they don't keep any of that stuff. But I do have. When I took my concealed carry class, I have my target that I shot, and every damn round went where it was supposed to. So I'm not worried about it.
Right.
But it's weird, you know. That's just people expect us to. They expect you to run away. We're in, especially California, New York, Seattle, you know, Washington State.
Or wait for the police to come in. No offense to the police. Just in case you're hearing that out there, we're under a severe hurricane, tornado, hail, baseball size, softball size hail alert right now. But nothing can stop the Smoked Debrief from going about its appointed rounds.
Absolutely.
We're like Paul Revere and the post office all rolled into one.
But if that window bus saved the cigars and that 17-year-old old Fitzgerald right there.
Okay.
Yeah, save that.
All right.
In your spice room.
Oh, don't you worry. Now you finally got me an appropriate alcohol to drink with my fine cigar. Okay, Jim, you have redeemed yourself incredibly with this cigar, I must say.
It is good.
It is really, really good.
This is complex.
No, it is.
But at the same time, it's a simple, just smooth smoke.
Oliva Melanio. Gran Reserva Limitado.
So let's hear about your adventure.
Oh my God. I spent the day yesterday in Bentonville, North Carolina. In 1865, pretty much the last battle of the Civil War took place in Bentonville, North Carolina. After Sherman had marched to Savannah, all the way to the Savannah, pretty much the only army that was left for the Confederates was the Army of Tennessee and one or two other smaller groups. And Grant wanted Sherman to capture Goldsboro, North Carolina. So Sherman marched up through South Carolina, up into North Carolina.
Sherman's the one that burnt every damn thing.
Burned everything, yeah, as he went to the sea.
War as hell.
Sherman's march to the sea, and they came up kind of in a V. One group of Sherman soldiers here, one group of Sherman soldiers here. That's how they kind of came up through South Carolina, and they didn't realize that the Army of the Tennessee was really left. Now, I know there's some Civil War experts out there that will correct me because I'm going to make some mistakes because I am not a Civil War expert. But they met at one of the prongs of Sherman's army met the Army of the Tennessee in Bentonville, and at first the Yankees thought that they ran into a bunch of cavalry, so they came across this field and there was a cavalry attack as a precursor, and then as they got about halfway across this field, about 4,000, 5,000 Confederates fired from the woods and killed a bunch of them. But they still didn't realize what they were up against.
Some damn dirty Yankees was hiding in the woods.
No, the Confederates were hiding in the woods. The Yankees were
Good
marching
old
across the
boys,
street.
good old boys, hiding in the woods. They knew what the hell to do.
That's right. But anyway, so they reenacted the cavalry charge yesterday, and they had about 2,000 reenactors, about 1,000 Yankees, and about 1,000 Confederates, and they did this.
It's 1,000 too many Yankees.
They did this battle out in the middle of the field, with their, I sent you the videos.
Yeah.
They had cannon. They were firing cannon. Just not with anything in it.
If I can put, we're messing with some new
Technology.
Stuff, so I'll see if I can put the footage in here when we go to edit it.
That'll take us to the next level.
Hell yes.
And
watch out, Joe Rogan.
It was easily 80 degrees, and there's 2,000 reenactors out on the field in wool, hats.
It was like,
dude, it was like 80 degrees, bro. And the guys in worse shape than I am, and I'm in pretty bad shape right now. Falling out, they had to run the little the EMT wagon out, and pick them up, and take them back out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you can show the footage. But it was wild, and I found out that.
Would I need to get a release?
No.
Okay. Oh, that's right. It's North Carolina. They're already.
Yeah. But there are many different levels of reenactors. And I don't recall what they're called, but there's a lower level where, and they camp out there. They have tents and all this kind of shit. But there's reenactors that they have ice chests, with water and drinks and shit in it. And then they wear regular modern underwear, and they, maybe their uniforms aren't, because a uniform fully fitted out is like $1,500 if it's legit. If it's legit, right? Period shoes, period underwear, made like it was made back in the day. So there's those people that they're just kind of enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then there's the middle people, and the middle people, they probably hide their ice chest, and they're pretty much legit. And then you have the upper level where they wipe their asses with tree boughs, and they have a latrine, and they're wearing underwear that's made out of period material, and they're and they're the serious ones, and those guys don't like the other ones. They're like, if you can't be committed, I wish I could remember what they were called.
Humans is a bunch of posers.
That's right. So,
don't worry, you motherfucker lost the war. You bunch of posers. You can't be a real Civil War soldier. You ain't got the right.
You ain't got a corn cob. But anyway, but it was wild. You got the feel about what it was really like to be an idiot and march across an open field and get shot with cannon and get shot with muskets. It was like, and by this time though, the damn Yankees, as you like to call them, they had Henry rifles.
Yeah. So
it wasn't like cap and ball like the Confederates had. At that period of time, the modern industrial complex in the North had been manufacturing Henrys and repeating rifles. So, but at Gettysburg, there's a huge reenactment at Gettysburg every year with about 35,000 reenactors.
That's a lot.
35,000.
How do they get there? Do they drive?
Yeah, they drive.
They carpool. They take a bus. That's a lot of cars too.
35,000 reenactors.
That's
I might have to go see that.
Yeah, that might be worth it.
And I think it's in November too, right? So it's cold as shit, and they're in these fucking these outfits. They don't have any parkas out there or any thermals out there. They are because they're legit, right?
Yeah.
So they're freezing their butts off. Now, I interviewed a bunch of people, and one of the people I interviewed was a woman. And because in the North and the South, there were women that fought, but they had to appear as men.
Yeah,
they had to appear as men. And
you know where that's going to go.
And I was interviewing her and talking to her about that because what a great story, right? And she's like, it's interesting, and she goes, a lot of reenactors don't like me out here, portraying a male soldier. And I'm like, is this the same reenactors that are hardcore about everything being the way it was? And she goes, yeah. I said, well, tell them to F off.
That's right.
You're making it legit, And
I just read an article about that. And they had pictures, and some of the soldiers were female, and they said
they never took their hats off. They
would dress like the men so they could go fight.
Yeah, and they had men's names, and Jim's
Pat, Terry.
Stop kidding us. You can't read. I don't know what you think you were reading. But if you don't know anything about it, you should do. And you're listening. You should check out the reenactor story. It's pretty neat.
And that was Bentonville, North Carolina.
Bentonville, North Carolina. I'm out there.
Shout out to Bentonville, North Kakalaki.
I'm out there with my bad knee, freaking walking 15 miles yesterday. And
did they have barbecue?
They had like 10 food trucks. And
did the Mac Daddy reenactors eat off the food trucks?
No, bro. They had iron pots and skillets, and what are those things called in the old? You had a Boy Scout cap. It's a big deep dish pan. Dutch oven?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it was, yeah. I think
it was a big cast iron steel pot. They were cooking and getting wood and everything, and because I went to at the end after the reenactment all day. You can't fly drones on state property.
Well,
so but I didn't take the drone because I didn't. It was just me.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough hands to be droning it.
Yeah.
And in the middle of one of the reenactments, I looked up and there was a drone at about 400 feet. Somebody had a drone up filming. And about 10 minutes later, over the loudspeaker, whoever is flying the drone, please, there's no droning on state property. Please bring it down or it will be brought down by us. Because they have those laser things.
Musket ball.
No, they have those laser things now.
Yeah.
That jam the communication or something. It's like a laser gun. They point at the drones and it scrambles the signal.
That would be a fun job.
Yeah.
Can you get one of those? Is that like available to the public?
Jim Young, Drone Defender.
The Drone Avenger.
So yeah, it was a great thing to watch and to experience, and then to see how serious they are, and of course there's always those that are too serious.
Yeah.
But no matter what the subject is, there's always
passionate about their craft.
Yeah, and it was cool.
That's crazy.
There were probably 5,000 people watching.
That's nuts,
man. And it was supposed to go today.
That's a damn nice event.
There was another.
Well, the hardcore ones are out there.
No, they're not. They had a meeting last night. Just before I left the camp I was in, the general comes out, and he goes, "Officers, assemble! Assemble, officers!" And then the trumpet guys, the bugle guys. Yeah, exactly. And the bugle guys. And then all the officers came, right?
Yeah.
He says, "I got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is we're not going to be demonstrating tomorrow because of the weather. The good news is the square dance is still on for tonight." Because there's women out there, dressed up in period pieces too,
You remember Back to the Future 3?
Oh,
ZZ Top was the band.
I loved Back to the Future 3. Mary Steenburgen and
what's his name?
Christopher Lloyd, who was also in Taxi, right? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show was called
Jim.
Taxi.
Yeah, Jim. Tony Danza.
Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza.
Andy Kaufman.
Thank you very much. Andy Kaufman.
I remember, I used to love watching him. He was on Saturday Night Live
Yes, Reed Perlman.
Yeah,
Danny DeVito's wife.
They were married forever.
Oh, Danny was in that show too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Wow, we're going way back. Way back. I'm surprised you can remember that far back, old man.
Yeah. So I got I get on Facebook every once in a while because I'll post hey, just dropped a new video, the Smoked Debrief, and a lot of my high school friends are on there and stuff. This is kind of cool. I did have one unfriend me because during the election I wasn't voting the way they wanted me to, so I get unfriended. Somebody I've known forever since like 14 years old, and they unfriend me because I voted for somebody they didn't like. But have you heard of this Blue Sky app?
I have heard Blue Sky.
Well, it's like Twitter or X, but you got all these people that they just got their feelings hurt because Elon Musk doesn't censor X, and it's great. And he added those community notes.
Yeah.
So if somebody does come on there and post something, you can, community note it, say this is actually what happened, or that's one version, the other version is this, so you get both sides, pretty much. Well, of course, the other side of the aisle doesn't like that. They can't have free speech. So some weirdo who started this Blue Sky, which is like Twitter, and I was on it when it launched.
You still on it, or did you get kicked off?
I'm not. I'm still on it. I didn't get kicked off. But if you want to get kicked off, just make a post that says there's only two genders.
Yeah.
But what's funny is one of my old high school friends posted, "Hey, is anybody here on Blue Sky? I'm thinking about switching over, and X just isn't fun anymore, and all this stuff." And I posted, best of luck with your transition, buddy.
You were such a dick. You meant you meant his transition to Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Well, it was dual meanings, but it was a joke.
It's not funny.
And he got it. He
did he get it?
He laugh emojied it. So, but and he was like, or if he commented back, have you even got on it? Yes, I was on it when it launched. And the people on there are just as hateful
as the people on Twitter.
People on X.
Here's what cracks me up.
There are people like saying Elon ought to buy Blue Sky. That would really piss them off.
Here's what's crazy. It's crazy that there are people that really believe 100% of what their side is saying.
Yeah.
That's insane. And it makes me I just don't understand it. How can you not step back as an intelligent human being and say, okay, well, my people are right about this, but my people are fucked up about thinking this. But we can't do it because everyone's so angry that there's no common ground. And that's what really makes me crazy. We are how many $1 trillion in debt right now?
Is it still trillions?
It's trillions. How can that not be a bad thing? How can what they're trying to do?
Yeah, trying to get rid of the waste. I don't know, but how are these judges able to stop that? It's like, say, you're not firing all those people who are wasting your money. You can't fire them.
I really think, and maybe I'm foolish, but I think that Trump is trying to get rid of income tax. And that's a great thing for everybody.
That would be a win
for everybody.
But they would hate it. No, I enjoy paying my taxes.
See, it's attitudes like that
I know
that make it impossible for us to get along.
Did you see the SpaceX launch?
No.
They launched, NASA SpaceX launched to go get the astronauts from space station. That shit is so awesome. I mean, they take off.
Is that what's happening right now, or are they already getting?
Friday, they left Friday at 7:03. They took off. I think yesterday around 7:30 they made it to the space station, and then earlier today I saw a video where they opened up the space station and they all came in, and it's so cool. And you know that those astronauts been up there for like 9 months or
some crazy amount of time. And why couldn't they get rescued?
Because NASA didn't have the capability. Whoever was designing the ships, they were having issues. They kept having issues. It's the same company, Boeing. I think it was. I might be wrong.
No, it's not. Let's not cast aspersions.
Yeah, Boeing.
Boeing's beaten. Let's not kick them while they're down.
Yeah, but there was some kind of issue, and Elon Musk had he had SpaceX, and he offered to go because they had already done launches. The Dragon had already launched with a crew of astronauts up, and all of it was successful. And but what they said was what Elon Musk said. He offered to help and go get the astronauts. When Biden was in office, and Biden said no. They didn't want Elon's help. They didn't want SpaceX's help. So the astronauts get left up there. And I think that was proven as true. There's going to be a whole lot of shit coming out. With Biden and this big farce they put on us the last 4 years. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Thank God.
But that SpaceX is
again
so cool.
The comments of the members of this podcast do not necessarily indicate or mean anything to the hosts and owners of the show.
Of course. That.
And now all of a sudden they're burning Teslas.
Yeah.
And burning up Tesla sales. But that's okay. That's okay because it's their side. Because they are right, and anything that they justify as being okay is okay. The double standard is what kills me on both sides, but especially this. You are burning somebody else's car and livelihood up because you don't like what the owner of that company is doing. There's no justification.
I don't see them doing anything to Volkswagens.
There's no justification for that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It'd be like if all of a sudden, all people of Jewish ancestry started burning Volkswagens up. No, it's true.
But they would get hated on.
They would get hated on.
Yeah.
It's like 8-year-olds, 7 and 8-year-olds, and it just makes me crazy.
Yesterday at the board meeting, there was a developer who's making a large purchase of some land. I think he's closing on it Monday, several hundred acres. And we have some affiliation with some of the land, and he had a Cybertruck. And I know the man, and I know the real estate guy who does stuff for the club, and I think they were out walking the range or something. But the Cybertruck he had a Cybertruck that was parked out there. So, and I knew who Cybertruck it was, so I called the real estate guy, and his voicemail picked up, and I said, Jim, man, y'all better get back to the clubhouse. There's a bunch of pink-haired old women out here painting swastikas all over the Cybertruck.
Did you really?
And they made it. They came in there, and he just came up and said, "Hey," to me. I said, "Did you get my message?" He said, "No." I said, "Dude, You need to play it. Put it on speaker and play it for Sean too. So they got a good laugh out of it. That is an ugly ass truck, but it's still cool.
Have you been inside one?
No.
Now, is Rivian a different company?
Yeah, Rivian's different. I actually put a deposit on a Rivian. Middle of the pandemic, you know, you're scrambling because you're either, well, for us, we were at the coffee shop or home. And we'd be down at the coffee shop and you're trying to find anything to watch on TV. You know, you're looking at old programs and stuff. Even McGregor and Charlie Borman did these motorcycle.
Ewan McGregor?
Ewan McGregor, whatever. Ewan, whatever. McGregor. Obi-Wan. But they, you know, they've had them for several years. It's like the long way round, the long way up, and the long way down, or something like that. But like one of them, they were BMW Enduros, and they're going across Russia. You know, places like there's not even no people, and it's really cool. They're on those motorcycles. Well, the last one that they did, I think it's the long way up, and they were going from the very bottom of South Africa.
South Africa?
South America.
Chile.
Yeah, all the way from the bottom of that up to L.A. They were going to end in L.A.
You can't do that.
Yes, you can.
No, because you can't get through that 70 miles of swamp.
There's one section that they had to put on the boat. They had to get on the boat.
Yeah.
Just
say. Hey.
I got you. But the thing, here's the catch. They wanted to find EV bikes to do it. Well, at that time, there weren't any EV bikes that had any kind of range. So they were at the EV F1 Formula E, you know, EV races. Formula has, F1 has EVs.
Yeah. We are in the belly of the beast right now.
Sweet.
It's all red where we are. If this is our last transmission.
This was a good smoke. It's a good one to go out on.
That's right.
But they got they were at the Formula E races, and Harley Davidson was there demoing their Livewire EV motorcycle. So they went and looked at it, and they were like, okay. And the Harley engineers said, what are you looking for? We would like to do this. So they told them what they needed. Well, the Harley engineers put together a couple of bikes for them, dressed them up as enduro bikes and stuff like that, and gave them to them, you know, and let them. That was their bikes. So the producer said, "Well, if they're going to be on EV motorcycles, I think maybe the production crew should be on an EV truck." But there wasn't any. They couldn't find it. You know, Tesla didn't have the Cybertruck. I don't think the Cybertruck had been announced yet. So somebody said, well, there is a company called Rivian that just started. So they go and talk to Rivian. They got the only two prototypes that Rivian had.
That was bold.
And they're down there. And Rivian went ahead of schedule and installed charging stations for them on the route. So that's when I started learning about Rivian. I was like, that's pretty, you know, they were showing the truck.
That's pretty cool.
Cool. Well, the one that they were in, the prototype, it's like there weren't like, the interior wasn't fully complete. So it was like a piece of plywood with buttons in the middle, you know, where they had to adjust up. And I started looking it up, and I showed it to Carrie, and she was like, "That's pretty damn cool." So, I put a deposit down on one and went ahead and ordered one. I ordered an army green. That was their launch color, army green. And waited, I knew it was going to be like 18 months. And 18 months comes around. It's not ready yet. But they're selling them to people. People are already out.
I saw one today.
And I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be getting the launch edition. Well, launch is like the first ones that come out. And then they send me these things saying, hey, that your color and the features you wanted aren't available. So here's an alternative we have. And they were trying to like downgrade what I wanted, what I had put a deposit on. I was like, no, I'll wait for mine. Another 6 months goes by. I'm like, hey, we have this. We just about have all of the options you wanted, but that color is still not available. And
You're like, it's supposed to be the fucking launch color.
yeah, it was insane. And I just said, just I'll wait. So one day I was at the VA, and over across from Duke Hospital, and somebody had a Rivian, and I went out there and I was like, this is it. I thought it was way bigger. I thought it was going to be like F-350 size.
No, it's like Ranger size.
Yeah, it's like a Honda Pilot, and or whatever the Honda truck is. And as soon as I got back to home, I got online. Yeah, let's cancel that. I don't want that. It's too damn small.
Did they give you your money back?
Yeah, I got my deposit back. Tell you who didn't give me my deposit back. I put a deposit on 2 Broncos, and I ain't got that money back yet.
You don't want a Bronco.
No. Well, now I don't. But when they first came out, I was like, yeah, okay. It was only $100 to put a deposit down. So.
Oh, okay. Did you see those crashes with the Broncos? Now, I don't know if that's real or if that's AI.
Yeah, I think it was AI.
But that sure would have hurt fucking the Bronco buyers, man. Like an accordion.
They are so cool, though.
Yeah.
Have you seen how, like, when you, whatever model you get, they're built to accessorize to whatever your heart's content.
Right, right.
And the screws on the vehicle where you can put an accessory are color coded. So if it's a certain color screw, the owner knows he can undo that screw to mount something. And it's really cool the way that they it was built, and they had that in mind.
It's just a cheap copy of a Range Rover. Range Rovers are like the best vehicles on the planet.
That classic Bronco, though, God. And that's a good looking vehicle.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It is.
And then they showed the Hummer EV. Oh. They started out, it was Led Zeppelin. Started playing, and then here comes that damn Hummer going across the snow, and desert and stuff. Okay, that's pretty damn cool. But good Lord, it was $150,000.
What?
For the one that everybody would want.
Of course.
Of course. I think it's the black edition or something like that, but it's loaded.
It's a good cigar, Jim.
Mm-hmm. I've learned from you.
Isn't it a great feeling when you redeem yourself and you feel that redemption just
nice
flowing through every part of your body?
I like it. Oh, I was telling you the other night when you texted me, and I was watching that documentary on that Rust where that DP got shot.
Yep.
That
was it open-minded, or was it pointing the finger at Alec Baldwin? Not that I think he didn't deserve to have the finger pointed at him for being
it was
a
pretty,
nut.
Yeah, it was pretty pretty open-ended. When it first started, it looked like they were trying to scapegoat people right off the bat, but they just kept, it just kept moving forward, and they had OSHA had an inspector come out there. The state OSHA inspector went out there, and he kind of gay, but just the way he talks. I understand what OSHA's for, but sometimes OSHA's fucking bullshit. But he started his investigation, and they showed the interviews where they had the young girl who was the armorer on the set.
Uh-huh.
Do you know who her father was?
He's some big time armorer.
He was he
Quick draw guy.
he was
right?
he trained pretty much every cowboy, every Western movie that's been since the 70s. He trained them about twirling the pistol
Right.
and shooting and all that stuff. Well, they interviewed her. And
She's
then
in jail now, I think.
Yes, she's in jail. She went for she might still be in 18 months.
18 months.
But it was her, and then the AD.
That's assistant director.
He pled out, so he didn't
Because he gave the gun, I believe. Is that correct? Is that Baldwin?
No.
Okay.
He just said, I should have checked, and I did not. And he said, and therefore I am responsible. So I mean, he was probably the most honest one
Was he?
of the group.
Did they interview Baldwin?
The police did, but Alec Baldwin took over that interview. He took command of that interview. It was two women cops, and they're asking him questions, and he turns around and puts the questions on them. I don't know. Someone is responsible, and then we have got to find out, what happened.
Okay.
Tell me what happened.
You can say what you want, but as an actor, you're just as fucking responsible.
Yes.
When you pick that gun and you put it in your hand, that you look at the rounds. If I've been in the movie business for 30 years, if someone hands me a weapon on set, I'm going to point at somebody. You better know that I'm going to make them unload it. They're going to show me the rounds. I'm going to look at the rounds and make sure that they're blanks before you put it back in the weapon and hand me the weapon back.
Well,
you cannot. You have to accept your responsibility as a human being. You can't blindly on a set accept what's going on.
That's like somebody gives you keys to a car and you get in and you run over somebody. Well, they didn't tell me that I was going to run over somebody. It's not my fault. I was just driving. That's exactly what Alec Baldwin's thing was.
And I don't know, were they
Not my fault. I didn't pull the trigger. It's a revolver, bro. You got to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
But the way it went out, because I'm sitting
how did they tell how live rounds got on the set?
Yeah, I'm getting that.
Okay.
But he was, he just took control of the interview. And I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, why are they not putting him in his place and saying, you're not the one asking the questions. This is our interview, not yours. But they let him get away with it because he's some big movie star. And that's exactly what it is. And yeah, he probably does have some kind of charisma or something that he puts out. Because at one time, I enjoyed watching him act. But as he's got older, he's a fucking asshole. He's just a fucking asshole. He was an asshole when he was married to Kim Basinger. He was an asshole to his kids. He might not be an asshole to his kids that he has now, but he was certainly an asshole to his first kids. But they go on through, they start their investigation, and they found real bullets mixed in with the blanks. And every one of them, like they had the armorer come back in and they were interviewing her and they showed her. We found live rounds here, live rounds here, live rounds here. And they were showing her these pictures. And she said, I don't understand how that happened. And then they pulled out, they said they all came from this box. And it's the box, it was a picture of the box that she showed them where the bullets came from, where the dummy rounds that she was using came from. There was no excuse. And she doesn't know how they got in there, but that was just a stupid ass mistake on her part. She should have checked all that before she brought them up there, but I just don't think she was experienced enough to know to do that. But they showed those things. You could not tell that which one was real and which one wasn't, because they looked exactly the same. I think the one that had a real round, you could see like a slight crimp where the projectile was pushed into the case, and I think the blanks didn't have that, but they all.
I think it's the other way.
Might be.
The blanks are crimped. The blanks are crimped, and the real rounds are not crimped.
But they looked exactly the same.
I'll have to watch it so I can be better educated. But
then that's still Alec Baldwin still pulled the trigger. Yeah. And they showed the footage. They didn't show anyone getting hit. They showed him
shooting.
He's in a church pew, and he's pulling it out and cocking it. And the DP, she was right here. And they showed some of her other films that she's done. That's her style. She likes being right there on that gun, at the end of that gun. That's where her shots. You know, you can tell photographer that was her thing. The director was right on the other side of her, and you can see behind her head, and you just see him pull this gun out and that was it. And it went through her
and hit the director.
And hit the director in his shoulder, landed in his shoulder. And they were talking to him in the hospital, and they said, "You've got a bullet." It was like a perfect bullet in his shoulder. And he was like, "No, there's no damn way." And they were like, they showed him the x-ray, and then they came over with the bullet, and they showed him the bullet. And he was like, "There's no way." You know, there really shouldn't have been a way for that, for something like that.
No, because there never should have been live rounds on the set.
So then they get to Alec Baldwin, his court case. His attorneys found that there was evidence that they weren't told about concerning the rounds, the cartridges,
that the prosecutor didn't disclose.
So
that's why he got thrown out, right?
With prejudice. So he can't be tried again. That's fucking ridiculous.
This is going to make me unpopular, but it's still the truth. You know, I've directed probably 100 cop shows. Arrested Trial, America's Most Wanted, Unsolved Mysteries. And, you know, the cops don't have to tell the truth when they're interviewing somebody. They can say whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know, they can say, "We had a satellite overhead, and we saw you go out in the backyard, and if you don't say that you went out in the backyard, it's going to," you know, in interrogation,
yeah,
people get desperate. So cops have a tough job, really tough job.
Yes. I agree.
But I would never speak to a police officer without an attorney.
Now,
Now,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Because you don't remember everything that happened in an order. You know what I mean? And then if you have to tell the same thing, if you have to have recollection, 3 hours later, they are looking for you to make a mistake and not tell the same story. And now you're a liar, so nothing you say can be believed.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's just like,
so for the prosecution to not disclose information, I totally believe that.
the thing about it though is what it was photographs of all the ammunition, and it was like 2,000 photographs of the ammunition that they had, and they had pictures. You know, they had that same evidence, but not this particular set of photos
That they used as evidence
that they used
in the trial.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think they used it.
Oh, they did.
But they weren't. It wasn't disclosed that it was available or something. I'm not sure how that legal bullshit works. But Alec Baldwin, the whole time, never admitted that he was
or showed remorse that it was
no, not at all. Now,
he fucking pulled the trigger.
He showed remorse when the judge dismissed the case. He certainly started crying then because he knew he just get his ass.
He just got away free.
Because intention or not, he pulled that fucking trigger. He shot that woman and the director.
And he's the producer. And he says, well, I was just got a producer credit because I was the lead actor. Well, bro, you're still responsible once you're a producer. You have to take responsibility for making sure the right people are hired, making sure people are qualified to be hired. Yeah. It'd be the same thing if the key grip had built a scaffolding, the camera had gone up on the scaffolding, and the scaffolding collapsed because that was built wrong.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't experienced enough to do it right. And that's what happens on low budget films.
Yeah. Well, they showed one of the camera guys. He actually resigned
because of safety, right? Because
of safety issues, and he had told them about it. This is why I'm leaving. He put it all in writing and all that. He was the first one to come out and start speaking after it happened. But
do you know if it was a union show?
Huh?
Was it a union show?
I don't know. Okay. It was in New Mexico. So,
but sometimes the budgets are so small that it's not union.
Well, they showed her the lady Alana that got killed. They showed her at the beginning. She's calling people. Would you have a dolly? Such can I get it for the weekend? Do you have one close by? And so she's rounding up all the equipment and everything.
And that's not her responsibility as the DP.
No, so that tells you it was probably low budget.
Probably low budget.
She's scrambling. But they interviewed her husband. They talked to her husband, and her husband said that her husband and her mother said that they want the film finished. They want her final work to be finished. So they did go back and film, and they finished it and everything. Didn't see anything from Alec Baldwin when they showed them going and finishing it. They took a cast picture, didn't see him anywhere. The first time they were filming, they had a cast picture, and he's right in the middle, dead center. But I think he's a coward. I really do. It's you think, you see these actors now. Like when you see actors in our day, we're growing up, John Wayne, Charles Bronson, Lee Marvin, these were men. Paul Newman, they were all men. Steve McQueen, they did man shit. They did man shit on film. They did man shit when they were home and relaxing. They did man shit. And I don't care if anybody thinks that's toxic or whatever. That was true man shit. And that was a role model Sure, some of them might have had issues, whatever. Some of them might have been raging alcoholics. The majority of them back then, with the exception of John Wayne, every damn one of them served their country. So they fought. You don't know what demons they had. Nowadays, we got fucking Ryan Reynolds and these other pussies. They're not masculine at all. They just like to play men on screen. Robert Downey Jr., pretty close. He's a father, and I think he's a great actor because I loved him since before he got his teeth fixed and he was in Weird Science. I've always Less Than Zero is my favorite Robert Downey Jr. movie. Have you seen that?
Is he a detective?
No, he's an addict, drug addict.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
But great movie, Less Than Zero. Great movie.
Does the film environment, Jim, movie environment, the atmosphere, it makes people afraid to speak up.
Oh, I imagine so, because they'll lose their job.
Well, just look at what happened to Sarah on the train tracks down in Georgia. What the fuck? Sarah Jones was a camera assistant, Jim.
Oh.
This production company went out onto the train tracks on a railroad trestle without permission from Union Pacific. In fact, they were told by Union Pacific they could not go on the train tracks.
So they went anyway.
They said they had permission and they went anyway. The producer said they had permission, they went anyway. They put a lookout down like 1,000 yards down the track. Theoretically, there was not supposed to be any trains that day, but they didn't have a representative from Union Pacific with them.
Or a train schedule.
The train came, they were on the fucking William Hurt. They were on the trestle with a bed. Sarah went back. The train's coming. They get alerted. Sarah was grabbing camera gear. The train comes, comes across the trestle, hits the bed, debris flies, and Sarah gets killed.
That's insane. What?
Now there was no one there from Union Pacific. Now I wasn't there, so I'm not gonna blame anybody. But there were people on that set that were experienced, that knew that there should have been someone there from the train company.
Yeah.
There should have been some guy with a walkie-talkie that's connected to Union Pacific. Just like if you're on an airport, and you're filming.
Yeah.
There should be someone from the airport with you at all times, communicating with the tower, communicating with ground control.
That's so crazy.
But people are afraid to speak up because you're only as good as your last job.
Yeah.
If you bitch and moan. So Jim has redeemed himself with that Oliva Gran Reserva Limitada. It actually had a little bit of strength to it.
Yeah.
Either that or it was the Captain Morgan's, but
it was extremely complex.
It was extremely smooth,
simple,
and definitely was cocoa all the way through. And I don't usually use those prescriptive terms because
really nice.
But it was a great smoke. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed our talking today about Alec Baldwin and Civil War reenactments. And join us next week on
The Smoked Debrief.